28th. This is Ruthie Rocks, Ruthie Allbrand, and I am here with lots of things today. Jimmy said he was going to show up. We'll see. Hopefully he does. Anyway, on with the show. So today we have 23 days of inventory. We'll see. We are not listing that many homes. We only listed 50 yesterday. We put 64 under contract and we closed 66. So it doesn't look like our landscape of available homes is going to increase anytime soon, hopefully next week after the holidays. We'll see. January 3rd, we'll see what happens. Month to date, sales compared to the same month last year. Look at this. We're right on target, selling 125 homes a day. Wow, that is fantastic. I knew we would catch up, but it took me down to the wire here a little bit. Oh, Jimmy's ready. Okay, cool. Let's get Jimmy on the show. Where are you, Jimmy? Here you are. Here he comes. Hi, Jimmy.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you?
I am inspired by you. That is how I am.
Oh, thank you.
I wanted to tell you that. I don't always make it to your show, but you inspire me in so many areas. The fact that you get up and get going, you're so driven, which is inspiring for me. And I've been challenged this last month about just getting going. And your recommendation about listening to Tom Ferry and Chris Voss the other day, I listened to some of that on my way over here. What a phenomenal presentation. And I wouldn't have done it if I didn't have you to listen to. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have got there. So thank you.
Well, you're my oxygen. No other way.
Are you going to do listing presentation tips? Are you going to do listing presentation tips? Your site said listen. That's cool. Excellent.
Yeah, today.
Good topic.
Yeah. Good. So I just wanted to say we're down to 23 days of inventory. Not a lot of the landscape has changed when it comes to the market right now. So we listed and sold about the same number of homes and put the same number of homes under contract that we sold and only listed 50. So that took us down to 23. But I was saying that I thought we might catch up with last December, but it was like, I had a feeling we would, but I wasn't sure. We finally did. We're selling 125 homes a day, same as last December. Yeah. And everything else is kind of the same. I got a lot of good comments on the new format. People liked it now. And so I said I already posted it, Jimmy. And what I told everybody.
I printed it out. Not only did you post it, I got it. I'm going to use it at my sales meeting next week. Before you go on any further, I just want to say, you've said it and you've said it and you've said it. You said plan, farm, database. And the fact that you say it so much, I don't know if people are hearing that. But when Tom Ferry said there's more real estate agents on this right now, there's more realtors than there are houses for sale. In Las Vegas, we have the same issue. We have more real estate agents working than there are listings out there.
Yes.
How do we navigate through that? So I'm really excited for your topic today.
Okay, cool. Hi, Karen. Good morning. You're back. I guess Karen was away for a little while. Good to see you, Karen. Glad you're back. And Deborah, I haven't seen her for a couple of days, but she's probably was having some holiday time off. Anyway, I told people today that print a few of these stat sheets, staple your business cards to them, carry them with you, and give them out. If somebody doesn't ask you about real estate directly, but you're just chatting, just say, oh my gosh, look what's going on. I mean, bring it on, show everybody and get people excited. Jimmy, I was reading an article I get this little magazine called Bottom Line. And I was reading this article this morning about pros and cons of the most popular places to retire.
Oh, cool.
I'm going to take some, what do you call them? Sound bites out of these different places. And they say like the Villages. I'll just give you an example. The Villages in Florida is one of the fastest growing metro areas in the country. But the Villages is its own little world. And of course, it's for retired people, everybody. Just like Vegas, a third of our population is retired people that come here to retire. And they are saying, though, that they have in Florida, they have sinkholes. And by 2050, Florida is going to be in trouble. Either
Wow.
like Naples and Fort Myers, a couple of the places where people retire to as well, they're going to be flooding a lot. And so I'm going to do the reason why I'm bringing this up, Jimmy, is I was inspired by this, thinking, okay, I'm going to do a blog or something about why you move to Vegas and why you don't move to these other places. Don't you think that would be a good idea? Because
Yes,
it tells
absolutely.
you, it tells you the pitfalls of all these places where people, like Sun City, Arizona, drought and wildfires, and how people are going around, for all year smelling this smoke, which isn't healthy. So anyway, I'm going to do an article about that. That's one thing. Second thing I want to talk about today really quickly before we get on with our main presentation is I want to talk about John has his physical therapy at 7 a.m. now, twice a week for his hip, which he's doing fantastic. But anyway, Kelly is her name, and she talked to me today. She was wearing this, the cloth masks that you get everywhere, those blue and white things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She says those are only protecting other people from you coughing or sneezing. It's not protecting you from what's coming toward you, whether you're in a crowd, in a class, whatever. So I don't know if anybody knew this, but I've been seeing, like if you saw Fauci on TV, he wears one of these masks that kind of come to a point, and they're called N95. Do you know about this?
No, I do not.
Okay, good. Because I don't know if I'm the only one in the dark sometimes, because I tend to, I get around much. So anyway, the N95 mask, the reason why they call it 95, it prevents 95% of particles, COVID-sized particles coming into your respiratory system. And 5%, if 5% gets in, that's not enough to actually infect you. So first thing I did this morning was I ordered some, because I don't like those cloth masks anyway. And I didn't think that, and I've heard before that they don't really help you. So I've ordered some of the N95s so that when we go out, in a crowd or whatever, that I'm protected from other people. And anyway, I just wanted to pass that tip on to everybody. So let's get on with our show today. And first of all, let's see, let me put this so we can all, let's see, how do I get this over there? Hang on, let's see if I can do it. I don't think I can. I'm going to hide you for a second and hide me. And I'll show me. There we go. I did it. Okay. So the first thing everybody needs to know when you're going to take a listing is you've got to have a buyer transaction checklist, I believe, so that your seller knows what's going to happen when they get an offer, what happens when someone wants to buy the home. And it says, the agent prepares the offer. They have to sign the agency disclosure and the purchasing agreement, which you tell them, is how many pages? 11?
Yep.
And then how escrow will be opened with the earnest money deposit. There'll be an inspection on the property. If it's not all cash, they'll order an appraisal, and then they have to get home insurance, and everything will get confirmed once the contingency periods are over, and there'll be a final walkthrough, and then escrow will close. That takes like 3 minutes, and this little flyer just to tell people, here's what's going to happen when we get an offer on your home. So now what you want, of course, is to get the listing. And we like to do the top tips for unexpected extras. And Jimmy, you talk a lot about the Murphy's Law. And you've had 99 plus 1 things go wrong, right?
Right.
So you hit the 100 mark this year, the 3 digits.
I did. Yeah.
So anyway, this is the top tips for unexpected extras. And here are some things that agents do for their buyers and sellers. And so you're talking to the seller and you're saying, suggesting that when they sell, you're going to bring pizza or something over for them to eat. And if they have young kids, you might give them the book, the Berenstain Bears Moving Day book. And then for sellers moving out of the area, you might give them a travel kit. I think that's a great idea. And even favorite snacks and drinks and pet treats. And then when the house closes, you're going to suggest that the buyer's agent, now you're the seller's agent counseling the buyer's agent a little bit. And you're saying, why don't you put a big red ribbon on the door? And then 6 months after closing, tell them, we hope you're loving your new home. And what a good time for a window cleaner to stop by to wash all your windows on us. So you're counseling the buyer's agent. And I'm doing this for a reason. I want everybody to start being community, not competition, because you want that agent to stay in touch with that seller so that you start creating that long-term relationship. And then when they're ready to sell, they're going to use you, the agent. And I'm trying to educate the agents to stay in touch with these people, your buyers, because they become sellers. Otherwise, they are open prey for all the other iBuyer platforms, all those TV commercials and everything that happens. You want them to be, you want yourself to be their agent. And the only way you're going to do it is to stay in front of them. So now let's get into the actual seller transaction. So the transaction checklist. So here, this is a suggested sample of a few items that you might want to create your own working checklist, which includes anything that might be required by your state and local laws, regulations, or practice. And your brokers already have a checklist they may want you to use. And we do, I'm sure you do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to go over, you're going to make sure you have the listing agreement, the agency disclosure gets signed, and then you know that you've got to request documents from the seller, like a loan statement, like the HOA information, and then you're going to create the new listing on MLS and upload the photos. Now, what I recommend everybody do is I recommend that you get the seller, everybody, to sign that listing that you created, the MLS sheet, and sign it, because you want to make sure that you haven't made a mistake. And mistakes happen. I mean, we just had a transaction, and there was a mistake on it that was a pretty big mistake. Good morning, Debbie. There you are. Welcome back. I haven't seen you for a day or two. Good to see you. Of course, I wasn't here either, was I? So anyway, it's really important. I wanted Jimmy's take on that. Jimmy, let's wait for Jimmy. Jimmy. Oh, he's getting interrupted. This is the broker's life, right? Constant interruptions. This is live broker work, Jimmy. Are you there? Can't hear you.
How about now? Yeah. How about now?
Cool. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was just saying that one of the things, once you put the listing in the MLS, you want to make sure you get the seller to sign that listing and review all the, all the items, because we make mistakes. I mean, I've had 2 or 3 lately that have, and one pretty big mistake, that was made. So and because we're rushing through, we're answering all those questions, and we need the seller to okay it, because that takes the liability away from me and you.
Right. Yeah, you're talking about after it goes into MLS. You're talking about after it goes into MLS. Yeah.
You print it out.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and you get the seller to sign it. And I don't think that's on our checklist, although I'm going to get it on our checklist. It was on our old Remax checklist, but it's not on our new one, so I'm going to put it on there. So anyway, and then you tell the seller that what's going to happen next. Now we're managing expectations, Jimmy. Why?
Because violated expectations leads to a dissatisfied client.
Right.
And no referrals.
And no referrals, right. And you're going to tell them that you're going to order the inspections, and you're going to vet the offers received, and you're going to present all the offers, to the seller, and that's required by laws in Nevada. And then you're going to email that executed agreement to the buyer's agent, and once accepted, of course, to escrow. And then you're going to confirm that the escrow money is deposited, and you're going to ensure that all the documents are signed and the close of escrow and deed recorded, and congratulations. And then bring a closing gift and be at the closing. Now, I know in today's world, that's maybe not as practicable as it used to be, but as much as possible, you should be there. And so that's your checklist. And I think it's a good idea to go over this with your seller. All right. They don't understand sometimes all the different things that we do for them and wonder why they're paying us. You know,
there's no doubt that these visuals will communicate the value that we bring way better than us telling them. Way better. What a great part of a listing presentation to have to say, look, you know, there's the seller side, but there's also the buyer side. And you might think we're only worried about the seller side, but really if the buyer side gets screwed up, we don't have a sale. Let me show you a couple things that we watch for on the buyer side. That's part of what we do as your agent. It's really brilliant to have that extra piece in there. I've never seen that in a listing presentation ever.
Yeah, yes, and we want to stand out. So then the essentials of a successful listing presentation. So you need to be exceptional. I just said that. And you need to be, when I was with RE/MAX, RE/MAX means reach for the maximum. And it also means to be above the crowd. And that was the balloon, the icon. Mm-hmm. And I still carry that with me as, you know, part of what I feel about our industry. We have to be exceptional. And so you want to make your seller feel that you are the right person for this job. And so there's three things we're going to go over, right? Okay, the presentation. The most important thing you can do to ensure a successful listing appointment is to have a pre-listing phone conversation with the seller. Have a phone conversation with the seller. And the purpose is to build rapport. You need to build that relationship. And to find out some key information. And here's the questions you're going to ask. So, you know, we're telling you all the recipe. Why do you want to move, Jimmy? Mm-hmm. Do you have a specific time frame? Oh, you want to be in Arizona. So when your daughter has her baby, you want to be there. So you want to get the house sold within the next 6 to 9 months. And then what do you think your home is worth? That's always a good question, because they may have expectations that are unrealistic, or they may not know that their equity has increased because of our median price going up. And then what are some of the special features of your home? And, you know, they might have just installed new countertops or new toilets, or, you know, different things that people do when they've been in the house 7 to 10 years. And and the interior, is it in good shape? And what enhancements or improvements have you made to the property? So you're talking about the special features of the home, and then you're talking about any enhancements that they've made. So now the seller's answers to these questions give you so much valuable information on how motivated they are, which is very key to pricing, to how you're going to market it. And this gives you the feedback you need to present to them what the presentation that meets their needs, which is very important.
It also lets them talk. It also lets them talk.
And you listen.
Right.
And then you're ready to do your research, and then you prepare, you know, your presentation. So the next thing, number 2, the listing appointment. So at the beginning of the listing appointment, tell the seller what you plan to go over with them. Manage expectations, everybody. And that's why we get paid. I mean, we get paid handsomely, in my opinion. I mean, how many people, you know, can make as much money as we can? And have the freedoms that we have. So right. I just think that we have an awesome career and profession, and we should really try to be the best. So at the beginning of the listing appointment, tell the seller what you plan to go over with them. Ask them to give you a tour of the home. That's the first thing you want. You know what? These people loved this home when they bought it. And you want to find out why. Why did you buy this home? What did you love about it? That will help me with my marketing. And then you take notes. Make sure you take notes. I mean, it's when I used to do listings, and I know John never took notes because he remembered everything. And when he took notes in his mind. I'm a note writer, but he isn't. But we accomplished the same thing, because when we went to sit down at the table and talk about the home, we talked about the features that we just toured. And then you want to be enthusiastic about their upgrades and their personal touches. That's important to them. This is their home. And you want to encourage them that you think their house is going to sell. I mean, you established that when you first had that phone conversation with their features and their upgrades and things that they told you about the home. And now you need to be enthusiastic when you actually see these things in person. And then you give them, now this is one thing, Jimmy, I think you and I, we agree to disagree with this. You give them your market analysis right away. I don't know that I do it that way. Do you?
I don't do it that way. No, I don't. I don't give it to them until they sign the listing.
Right. Yeah, and I like that. Everybody, Jimmy, when we do our our class on advanced strategies, I believe it is. That's one of the things that Jimmy teaches us is don't talk about price until you're filling out the listing agreement, and the thing that's blank is the price, right?
Right, exactly.
So, and then you refocus on their goals and you educate them on, well, here's the other thing, commissions. And we know we've got everybody on billboards and on the radio and on TV talking about, lowering your commissionectomy, I think Tom Ferry calls it. And so you need to educate them on why you get paid, what you get paid. And most of it's marketing, and most of it is, what you show them, all the different steps that you go through to hold the deal together and how you negotiate the best price for them. What am I missing, Jimmy?
Well, this is part of Chris Voss's presentation with Tom Ferry on the last podcast. He said, don't give your money away up front. He said, at the end, if you have to negotiate something, that is it's a whole new negotiation. But NAR, the National Association of Realtors, says only 1 out of 25 sellers hires you based on price. It's 4%. It's not about price. And if it comes down to commissions at the end, it means you didn't do a good enough job selling your value in the beginning. And you screwed up.
Right. Yeah. And one of the things that isn't on here is that you should always take something to the listing. Mm-hmm. Whether it's moving boxes with your name and your address on and different colors for the different, you want to wow them, like get put yellow tape and write kitchen on it, or, do little things that make you stand out and show that you're different, because it's going to be hard for them. And John always, John taught me this. It's going to be hard for somebody to not list with you if you bring them something, boxes. Right. I know Annetta does boxes, and you had another suggestion. I forget what it is.
It just depends on how well you know them. If you know them well enough to bring them a bottle of wine, the last listing presentation I went on, I took them a bottle of wine and a bottle of alcohol, and they opened the wine while we were taking the listing. She said, "Oh, let's open this right now." Okay, so we had wine.
Yes, break bread together always. Sure. And Aaron Taylor always takes a pie. He always takes a pie. And John did a pop by and dropped off a pie. And he got the listing within 3 days. And then the people backed out because the woman got ill. But they called John on Christmas and said, you know what? After the first of the year, we want you to come list our house. And are you going to bring another pie? I thought that was cute. So that people, I tell these stories because people, you need to know that these things matter and people remember what you do. They really do. And then and so at some point, and this is a judgment call as to when you do your marketing presentation. Because again, if you take Jimmy's advanced strategies class, you need to be able to read the people, because you've got different types of people, and you've got people that just, Jimmy, you always say, when you ask them about the home, they say, oh, it has a great backyard, we entertain. You kind of know what their personality type is.
Exactly.
Or you say, or they say, well, we've got, like 2,000 square feet, and that's the analytical person.
Right.
So you need to know who you're dealing with. And then, it might be, you'll gauge when it's important to tell them about the marketing.
Right.
I mean, you've got to do all this before you do the commission or the listing. You got to, again, your value. And maybe they don't even want to see the marketing plan. I know Tom Ferry did a show, and one of his coaches said that one of his agents has 140 things that they list that they do for marketing. And the agent said, nobody ever wants to hear all of them. But they're impressed that you have all those things. And if you sit down and think about all the things we do, you'd be amazed at the number of things that we do.
Yeah, it's death by 1,000 cuts, that's for sure.
Yeah, death by 1,000 cuts. Yes. And then, and so then based on everything you've heard, are you ready to move forward today? That's asking for the listing, for them to sign the listing, and then you bring it out, and then you let them put the price on it. And if you've done your job, they're going to put the price on. Now, Jimmy, what do you suggest if they want to price it too high?
Take the listing. Take the listing. Take the listing. The market's going to show them it's too high. You don't know what their house is worth. You don't. In this market, I don't think anybody knows what their house is worth. And whatever price they want, you let the market decide in the first 2 weeks, how many hits did you get on MLS? You take it at their price. I would take any listing at any price if they want to sell.
Right.
If they want to sell and they give you the listing, they're telling you, look, we want to sell our house. We're putting it on the market. People are going to come to our house. We're going to put a lockbox on this house. If the market tells them it's too high, it's not you telling them. You're not the bearer of bad news. I would take any listing at any price right now.
Wow. Yeah. Unless they want to price it too low, but then that is another strategy, really, that you can say this is a little low, but I like the idea of pricing it low because we'll get probably multiple offers and get into a little bit of a bidding war, and you'll probably get more than you expect. Because that's
I've not heard any better dialogue on pricing strategies than Tom Ferry's 3 pricing strategy. And he's given it a couple times, but he's got a 3 pricing strategy, and it puts the seller in control of which one of those pricing strategies they want to use. But he lays it out. He says, we have 3 options here. Oh my God, there's 3. There's 3 options. We can do it here, here, or here. And here's what happens if we do it here, and here's what happens if we do it here. Which one would you like to do? So he puts it in their court, and they might rethink their whole structure when they're presented with new information. Well, I never thought about it like that. Oh, well, let's try this one. So they might come up with a good number.
Yeah, and I think in one of those shows, Brian, I think it's Brian or Jason Mays. I can't ever remember his first name. His last name is Mays, but I think it's Brian. He's a really good coach, and he has that 1, 2, 3 down so well, because no matter if they price it too high, too low, or just right, he has the feedback like you just explained.
I think it's Jeff Mays. It's
Jeff Mays,
I think.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Oh, ham and egg it. So yeah, I like that, and he explains, well, if we do it this way, this is if you want, and I think he always uses them, not us. He says, if you want to do this, this is how the market will react to it. He kind of takes himself out of that. Of it being his thought or his opinion. It's what you want, Jimmy, and how the market's going to react to, pricing it too high, or how the market's going to react to pricing it just right, or how the market's going to react to pricing it too low.
Right.
So,
well, and that was one of the biggest points on the Chris Voss interview. He said, it's not about you. It's not about you. And people get caught up in that. Oh, I nearly died of embarrassment. Really? It's not about you. You're not supposed to, whatever. So the more we can focus on them, the more effective our presentation is going to be, the more they're going to really like what we have to say. It's really, it is their house. It is about them.
It is about them. Yes. And so I don't know if anybody uses the Brian Buffini listing presentation, but I did put it in the group in the file section, and it's a good, you may want to add things to it. You may want to change things, but I always like to start with someone else's idea, like an expert, and then
His visuals are great. His visuals are great.
Yes. Oh my gosh. There's so many of them too. Well, it is time to go. I have probably, let's see, I had 8, 9. I have 10 tips for tomorrow about your listing as well. So today you've got the basics, and tomorrow we'll do a deeper dive into your the power of your marketing and things like that. So
sounds good.
Yeah, and I'll post these today as well. Yeah, and again,
Great.
Jimmy and I disagree on some of these things, and these I got from Brian Buffini. Yeah, like when you do your commission, and just so you know, and I might make some comments about that when I post them. Jimmy, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, no.
Are you going to be here tomorrow?
I don't know. I think so.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. So. That would be wonderful.
So.
We're going to continue listings.
Yes.
Listings,
awesome.
farm, database.
There you go.
1,
plan,
2, 3.
Farm, database. Plan, farm, database. Plan.
Yes,
okay.
Plan. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks.
We love you.